All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Paradigm Shift. We're diving back into Marvel Cinematic Universe. This time, we're going to hone in on Daredevil Born Again. We're going to talk about it a little bit. I got quite a bit on my mind when it comes to this. Now, Jesse, I know that you love this show. So, once again, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Big Rob, back with Jesse. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, doing great. Looking forward to talking about Daredevil.
Yes, I know. I know you are. um, so I don't even know where to start on this. I mean, I said I would start to watch it so that we could kind of cover it. And there's a couple things that jump out to me in this series so far. And one, I wish that they would simply, and they did kind of start. You've seen the guy who plays Daredevil star in two of the last Spider-Man movies as Murdoch, as the lawyer, not as Daredevil, though, right?
Right.
Um, Now, I would love to see him brought into the Marvel Universe movies as opposed to the small screen, right? However, it's difficult to do that with these bigger, these smaller. I call them smaller heroes. I'm just scaling things because you have your galaxy threats and you have your earthly threats, and then you have your neighborhood threats, right? In
Right.
terms of heroes and villains, right? I mean, Rhino's not a threat to the universe, for example, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't. You don't need Miss Marvel to come along and kick his ass, right? But so that's kind of I guess that's why it's hard for them to transition somebody like Daredevil or Punisher, those kind of like street level heroes. It's hard to have them in movies where they're fighting someone like Thanos, right? Where he could punch their face off and one, their head off their shoulders in one swing. What do you think about that? Is that a difficult transition, do you think, from the small screen to the big screen for these street level heroes and villains?
Is that a difficult transition? Um, well, I think you bring up a good point, right? They really are kind of street level. It's in the streets, right? And maybe in a way that's kind of why I liked all those original Netflix shows because they're all kind of like that, right? Whether it was Daredevil or the Iron Fist or Luke Cage or Jessica Jones, they were all in the streets, kind of local characters, right? And they're not at that federal level or planetary level. So I don't know, you're kind of like comparing like a grapefruit to like a squash or something. I mean, these are like just completely different. So I think what I like about the street level characters is they're more gritty and they're more real. Whereas I think in terms of like the kind of like the federal or the planetary, it's like it becomes more fantasy the further up the chain you go. I would say.
Well, it's interesting you say that because there is a degree of um, higher moral ground for your planetary heroes, your Iron Mans, you know, I would hesitate to say Captain America. He's touch and go, but you know what I mean. Those bigger heroes on a planetary scale, and what I mean by that is exactly what you said. The There is no gray area for them, right? In terms of what has to be done, it's always you cannot kill,
Yeah.
right? Whereas you go to the street level, it's a little more relatable to the human condition, where they really target the emotions and the loss and the heartache and the anger and the rage that can come to these heroes, your Punishers, your Daredevils, stuff like that, like it would come to you or I, just a regular person, right? And that thin blue line, so to speak, gets very very blurry, and they do kill, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think you brought up in the past like Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man you could argue is a local hero.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Friendly neighborhood, yeah. I mean, he's in New York. He's not really a global anything or a planetary anything. But he has made the movies, the
Yeah.
MCU, right? He is out there, and they have kind of crossed him over. Maybe the thing here is it's like there's certain elements. I don't know if you always need to cross over everything, right? Like I like having a darker, grittier space that some of these characters can be in, right? And again, I mean that's half the reason I really like the Netflix shows is they were all like that. They were dark, they were gritty. It was just very different, and I think maybe for me, I can follow them a lot easier than when I'm following like Loki and the Timekeepers or something like that, and I have no idea what's happened from one episode to the next, right? Whereas if I'm watching like Luke Cage, I know exactly what's going on, or if I'm watching Daredevil, I know exactly what's happening. You know?
You bring up a very good point because we live in an age where you have to have that raw gray area, right? Where we don't live in a time like we did in the 80s with the all your heroes are like Hulk Hogan's. You eat your vitamins and say your prayers and bubble gum and rainbows. You can't have that nowadays because it's not entertaining to people anymore. That we've moved way past that kind of a mindset. You have to have that dark, relatable character who, like Frank Castle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
He's
I definitely agree with you, and it is kind of the world we live in today. I almost wish that they would bring a little bit more of that darkness to the Marvel movies.
Yeah, that'd be tough because I think the Marvel movies have a certain style to them.
Mhm.
And they kind of make fun of themselves sometimes. And in this world, they don't do that at
Yeah.
all. It's really not like that. It's very real. Now, one thing that I would say. So I watched the first three Daredevils on Netflix, and the first two I really really liked. I felt like the third one shifted a little bit. Like I could tell the writing was kind of different, the theme was kind of different. And Daredevil stopped for a good, I think it was like 6 or 7 years maybe before they brought back Born Again.
Mhm.
And one of my, I guess, gripes with Born Again is so they're kind of picking up where the last three shows left, but they're taking it forward in a new way, right? So they're highlighting the old, but they're moving it forward, and that's fine. I'm good with that. But in the original three shows, it was very much a trio. So it's Matt Murdock, it's Foggy Nelson, and it's Karen Page, right? The three of them, they're uh, Murdoch and Nelson or whatever they call them, right? Nelson and Murdoch is what it was. Nelson and Murdoch. Okay. And she was the secretary. And they were kind of like every episode, they were each in it, one way or the other, right? Foggy was more of the lawyer slash politician type person. Karen is, coming from her own trauma. And then Matt is Daredevil, right? And so anyway, when this thing started, and by the way, a little bit of spoilers, right? Just to set the tone here.
Yeah.
And they killed Foggy. it was like, it
Oh, in
was
the
like,
first episode.
yeah, it's like, my gosh. I mean, he's like one of the core guys here. I mean, he's Matt's roommate from college. And I get it. They had to set it on a new path, but I don't know if they needed to kill him right off the bat. Like I didn't foresee that coming, and I saw leading up to the release of Born Again that they did a few big events where they all came out on stage and the crowd was like, yeah, everybody's coming back. Yes, this is gonna be awesome. And then in that very first episode, they
Like the
took
first
out
20
Foggy.
minutes.
Yeah, they took him out, and I I don't know if I can forgive them for that. I feel like, I mean, I get it. You have to have events and things need to happen and it puts it on a new path. I get it, but definitely controversial. I'll say that.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, like I get the point of him hanging up the mantle, and a year later he hasn't done anything as Daredevil and all this kind of stuff because his friend died, and I get that, and I get the point of doing it is to show the impact of his on him as a person, right, on his character, of the loss of Faki, right? So I get that, but at the same time, it's a severe lack of entertainment value in my opinion. And I felt like the first two episodes was just so much fucking sulking and whining about this shit. And I was just like, dude, like, I get it, right? But get moving here, right? Like, can we
Yeah.
get the story kind of going? Now, I will say, what's his name? John something who plays Fisk?
Oh,
Kingpin?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, that's his name. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I don't think anybody, we've talked, you and I, before about people who are like just born to play a role. Fantastic. Right?
Yeah. He is very good. And I would say in this series, you see his wife Vanessa kind of take more of a lead role in it. You also see some of the supporting cast around him in that mayor's office. Like one of the guys is uh the real life Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini's son, Michael Gandolfini, is
Oh,
one
really?
of the guys that's in there. And he's so
Like
good.
his
And he
sister?
looks just like Tony Soprano. Yeah,
Nice.
he's really good. They also from the original show there was um Ben something or other. He was the reporter, right? And
Yeah.
Fisk killed him in the original ones. Well, now it's his, I think it's his niece that
I think it's
she
his
is now a
daughter.
reporter. What's that?
I think it's his daughter.
Is it his daughter?
Yeah, I'm at the point right now where she's sitting in the office and talking with Fisk for an interview, and he's like, "I remember your father," kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Um so there's some really cool elements there. The one thing I would tell you is two episodes is not enough. You got to keep going, man. You got to keep going, see it through. And there's some, I would say what I find different about this one is it's written very well. Um but I would say that I think the episodes of Born Again are a little more each their own episode versus the original shows was kind of like one long movie in a way, you know?
Oh, I'll keep going because I think that that's one of the reasons I wanted to do. I only wanted to watch a few episodes. Like after I watched a few episodes, I was like, you know what? Based on the opinion I have on the show right now, I think it would be smart to talk about it and then continue playing it out, and let's see if that opinion evolves and moving forward. Like, a week from now, I could be through far more episodes and I could be sitting here going, what a fantastic show, right?
Yeah, there'll be parts of this I think that you like when you get further past kind of the beginning. And one thing that I would say in this show that I don't, another gripe that I have is that in the original 3 seasons, he his love interest, I think her name was Electra, right? And the two of them had like chemistry, right? I mean, you could just like feel it. Like there was like legit chemistry there. And they were sort of equals in a way that, she was sort of like um a dark villain, martial arts, and he was sort of a lighter version, but still from the shadows. So they kind of hit it off. And towards the end, they kind of had Matt hooking up with Karen. And in this show, he's with Karen, but I gotta say, between the two of them, I feel like they have no chemistry at all. Like they don't even look like they would remotely go together. I don't feel like I'm not believing that they're a couple. I gotta say.
So, are you talking about it being bad casting, or just these two characters just are not?
It's not the casting. The
Okay.
casting is spot on. The casting's great. I think it's the storyline that the two of them are somehow romantically involved when really it always felt like in the original show that if anybody was going to be romantic, it would be her and Foggy. But then they kind of made her and Foggy like best friends. And then sort of weirdly, Matt hooked up with her after they got rid of Elektra. And so I think I think in this one, watching it, especially into season two, I'm kind of having trouble with the two of them being a couple. It just doesn't feel believable to me.
Hmm. Interesting. Now, going back to what you said about Spider-Man, um, being on the planetary threat movie scale, I think Spider-Man is right now obviously the bridge between the street level stuff with your Punishers and your Daredevils. I mean, Punisher, we've seen Frank Castle is in the trailers, is actually in the new Spider-Man movie that comes out in July, right?
Yeah.
And they show in the trailer, a scene where Spider-Man just kind of nonchalantly whips his ass and then, shoots him in the mouth with a web and says, "Go home, Frank," right? like he's just an afterthought, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of giving you that scale of planetary strength versus neighborhood strength, or tiers, anyways. And but the thing is with Spider-Man is he has his powers, right? He has his incredible strength. Apparently, he's way stronger than even Captain America is, right, in terms of raw strength. Daredevil, from my understanding, doesn't actually have any powers. His senses are increased because of that stuff, right? But he doesn't have super strength or any of that kind of stuff that Spider-Man possesses, from my understanding, right?
So Daredevil, his father was a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of his origin story is from the boxer ring world. And then he's trained by Stick, who is a martial arts guy. But because he goes blind as a kid, he has this heightened hearing that allows him to see the world as if it's like infrared, right? So he can see things before they're coming. He can hear things before they're coming, and his superpower is like he kind of keys in on that. So like if somebody's lying to him, he can hear their heart beating faster, or if somebody's coming, he can hear them getting out of the car before they're even in the building. So he always kind of has a one up on whoever he's going against. If they throw something at him, he already knows it's coming, you know?
Like a spider sense.
Yeah, in a
Yeah,
way.
so
Yeah.
that's stuff that, from my understanding, he got some stuff, toxic sludge, whatever, splashed into his eyes, lost his vision,
Yeah.
but it gave him almost an echolocation uh, for his senses, for his hearing and all that other kind of stuff, right? So that's
Yes.
how he can get around. But he doesn't have any suit. So other than that, though, he's just a dude who knows like crazy martial arts.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the difference, I guess, between your street level and your same thing with Frank Castle, right? No super strength, no superpowers whatsoever. He's just a dude that'll wreck you, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I think that they kind of tried to do that street level tier with Captain America. What's the guy's name? The black guy that took over the mantle of Captain America
Anthony
for
Mackie.
yes, Anthony Mackie. So he came in and they tried to do a whole Captain America, you know, thing with him, which I believe they did in the comics, which is fine. Problem is, I think it didn't generate a lot of interest because, in the same way, he doesn't have any super serum or anything like that. He's just a dude with normal strength and athleticism that can fight good, right? And
Hmm.
I think that kind of hurt the credibility of the character when you've got him in a movie, and he's got his Falcon wings on, but he's fighting like Red Hulk, and you're just like, man, you know,
Like they're not really on the same level.
like not even kinda, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. But
So
if you think back to the originals though, I mean look at Hawkeye. Like what did he have? Well, he can fire a bow and arrow, okay? And he's really accurate, okay? But that's it. Like he's not what else does he have, you know?
yeah, he's smart and he can shoot arrows, really, really good, really accurate.
Even what's her name? Black Widow. What did she have? Did,
She
I
had
don't
little electric things on her fists, right? She'll tase you.
Yes, she didn't really have a whole lot of either. But maybe all it takes, kind of going back to this idea, is you got to like elevate him off the streets a little bit. Like let's bring him to Washington. Let's put him in World War II, right? Right, like Captain, right?
Yeah.
Let's introduce the Spider Verse, and now it's like at a weird kind of like global level, right? If you do something like that,
I think you have, yeah, in a sense, I guess what you're saying is you have to kind of shield those characters if you're bringing them in to those environments, right? Like you said, like they did with, like they were doing with the new Captain America character, even when he was Falcon in the Captain America movies with Chris Evans, and the same thing with Black Widow. They didn't throw her into the mix where she was in a hand-to-hand combat situation with Thanos or any of Thanos's minions, kind of thing. She was still in the movie, but just doing other stuff, right? And I guess you kind of have to do that. I mean, you've got Thor taking the full brunt of a star, right? And you've got these other characters that just don't have any strength whatsoever. The same could be argued for what's his name, the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt's character.
yeah.
Uh,
Star.
he's
What was his name? Star.
Star Lord.
Star Lord. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he doesn't have any powers either.
Yeah.
He's just smart, and he's got guns and this jetpack on his back or whatever, and he's got his mask, but he doesn't actually have any powers, right? So you can have those characters in kind of shielded or protected situations, right?
Well, you know what's interesting? So in the first three Daredevils, he always talked about Hell's Kitchen because that's where he's from in the comics. Hell's Kitchen. Everything was Hell's Kitchen. He never says New York. He really just says Hell's Kitchen over and over and over, right? In the new show, he doesn't say Hell's Kitchen at all. It's all just like New York. He doesn't talk about Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, he does.
Well, not at the same level though. Like if
Not at
if
the
you had
same
a
level.
if you had a chart, if you were rating these, I mean the amount of times he said Hell's Kitchen in the first three versus now, it's
Yeah.
nowhere near.
Yeah, because like I agree with you, but with like the lunch that he had with Fisk, they're both talking about how neither one of them has been back to Hell's Kitchen in
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
something like that, right?
Well, and that was a great point, right? Because in that scene, again, it was kind of passing the torch from the Netflix shows to this show. And
Yeah.
in this show, he doesn't talk about it in that way. But like one thing I would say is that I think I like him being in New York and just local to New York. I like the grittiness of New York, and he, as well as Fisk, really kind of fit that vibe of like that kind of gritty, grungy New York. And even in the episodes, it's funny, they'll do these little segments sometimes at the beginning of the episode, like they're interviewing people on the street of like, what do they think of this or that, and they're like typical New Yorkers just kind of throwing it out there, and then they'll go into the episode. Like I kind of like that, like I don't need to see Matt Murdock on the federal level or in Wakanda or something like that. Like I really don't need to see that. I like him in New York, and I like him battling Fisk in New York, and I like that Fisk is the mayor. He's not like the president or something like this.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean he just won the election, and like from what I've watched now, I saw that in the because you got little thumbnails almost for upcoming episodes when you're going through them. And so obviously, a few episodes up, it shows that the Punisher is there in a scene. So kind of spoiler alert for me anyway there. But that actually gives me more incentive to watch more because I'd like to see that engagement. And I am interested because there's with the transition of Frank Castle's character over onto Spider-Man's movies, and you have seen, like I said before, Murdoch in two Spider-Man movies now playing Peter Parker's lawyer, right? You do have this slow transition into the big screen that's kind of taking place right now.
Maybe. You know, maybe this is the part where you're getting hung up. Is you're looking at this from a chair in the MCU. I'm looking at it from a chair like right there, sitting at street level in New York. Like right,
Yeah,
like it's kind of different viewpoints, and you just got to kind of see it from that lens. Now, you
yeah,
know, like one thing I was going to tell you, in this show, they do introduce a few characters that I had never even heard about before. Like one of them was, I think they call him the White Tiger.
yeah. I heard they mentioned him. I haven't seen him yet, but yeah.
Okay, so just know that you absolutely have to watch the episode with the White Tiger. It's probably the most powerful episode in the whole season.
I,
Very, very good. Okay.
I think the next episode on my going up. I think it's the next one. So
Yes, it's very powerful, and especially when you find out what happened to the actual actor who played the White Tiger. You got to learn the backstory afterwards as well. It's amazing. Um,
okay.
but that one's really good. And then there's also a pretty big character called, I think his name is Muse, and boy is he a weirdo. And he shows up in this thing, and he is very weird. So
Looking forward to it.
yeah, yeah. So you gotta see those parts too. I mean, those will give you nightmares. A few of those scenes that Muse is in. Um,
Well, here's another thing that kind of caught my attention that stuck out to me, and I was kind of like, it made me think. I suppose is the best way to word it. Now, Fisk makes a comment in his presser when he is voted in mayor, and he's talking about, how there's going to be zero tolerance for heroes, and he says, like he mentions Daredevil and Punisher, and he mentions Spider-Man, going around in a spider costume or whatever the case might be, and it's not going to be tolerated, right? And I remember thinking to myself when he said that, I was like, again, from the position like you were saying of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm thinking, what are you going to do about it? Right? You're the mayor of New York. Spider-Man is on a planet going toe to toe with Thanos with with the Infinity Stones, but you're not going to tolerate him swinging around New York City. It just that's that scale again, right? Where it makes you think, what the hell are you going to do about it?
well, I gotta say, I know. I think you said you hadn't watched all three of the earlier seasons, right?
No, no, I haven't.
Okay, so when they introduce Fisk's backstory, his story is that in the world that he came from, his father was abusive and was always abusive towards him. Both,
He mentions that in this.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what part of this character is. So that physical and verbal abuse follows him. But outside of that, there's an episode in the first three where they show him physically abuse his mom, and then he stands up for her, and the dad says, "What are you going to do about it?" And then he basically beats him to death, and
Okay.
that's what sets the tone for Fisk from then on. And so
Mm,
Fisk has this like rage again. D'Onofrio is on another level as an actor for this stuff, but he's got this like rage thing inside him, this brutality that goes way beyond like other people. So when you
yeah.
say like, well, what are you going to do about Fisk? You got to see Fisk in that light. And especially like in this series, I mean, there's multiple episodes where that comes out. And it even came out, in the first three also, but it gets pretty wild.
Well, I think that the reason that I say that is it's not because, like, I guess it's the fault of the order that they did everything in the Marvel universe, right? Now, had they, when they introduced Spider-Man into Marvel, had they started on the street level with Fisk, where the cartoon and the comics were, whereas, like, okay, well, Fisk was doing stuff about it, or Kingpin, so to speak, was creating Scorpion and bringing in all these street level supervillains to battle Spider-Man, right? Which built him up and made him stronger and stronger and more matured for becoming a more planetary hero, right? But they just skipped all that, went straight to battling people like Thanos, and now they're trying to reel him back in to the mayor of New York City fighting. And it's just, you should have started there and it would have been better. Just,
Yeah,
I guess, in the order of things, right?
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. The other thing though too is like they're not really of the same era. I mean, Fisk is what, like three times the age of
Oh yeah, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, at least.
Yeah, Spider-Man. I think his character is supposed to be like not even 20. He just
Exactly.
graduated high school, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they're fundamentally different. Like you just have to accept that in this world you're watching something that's like through like the color of like Cabernet wine, right? Like that's what Daredevil is. It's not a bright blue sky on a nice day and we're going to make jokes about each other. Like that's not what this is. It's very different.
Either way, I'm sure I'll start to enjoy it a little bit more. I think that it's just picking up slow. That's
Yeah.
all. And
Yeah.
the whole I don't want to be a hero anymore kind of angle, it's not unique to this show. I've seen it in other hero shows and stuff like that where they're like, I'm not the hero anymore, and they kind of put that side of the character aside, and then you watch half a movie, for example, where they're not that character. You're like, this sucks. Like, I came to watch Spider-Man, not fucking Peter Parker for 2/3 of the movie, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm watching Daredevil here, not
Yeah.
not you know. So, but it's not a unique storyline. There's been dozens of variations of that over the years, and I think it works. But a lot of times they drag it out too long,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, get the story moving here, right? Like, we get it. He's hurt. His friend died. He doesn't want to be Daredevil anymore. But have something force the envelope a little bit faster, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't put me through. I'm not saying they do because I haven't seen enough episodes, but don't put me through half a season where he's just not Daredevil. Then I'm like, this fucking sucks, right?
Well, I think the thing though is at the end of the day, he's Daredevil again. And his suit that he has in this one is better than his suit that he had in the first three.
So does he have a? Let me ask you this: does he have a different suit when he finally becomes Daredevil again than he did at the beginning of the first episode where he's battling Bullseye?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's his suit in this one's like really, really cool. Like
Does it
I
have
always
like
kind of thought in
yellow
the
on it?
first, huh?
Does it have like yellow on it and red and?
No, no. This one is it's like a dark blue almost, like a dark blue with red in it.
Interesting,
Yeah. Yeah.
because when he did a cameo on She-Hulk, he was in about 3 or 4 episodes, and he had a new outfit for that too. It was like a yellow, and he had the classic red that he wears, that almost maroon red, but there was like there was also some parts of it that were like a mustard yellow
Hmm.
combined with the red, so it was a different kind of an outfit. Yeah.
Yeah, in the first season, I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know if you ever saw this. One of the guys that I think he had worked for Fisk, and that's how he found him. He was like this crazy dude that made the suit for him. And and it was something about like him protecting Betsy or something like that and getting this suit. And the guy was like a complete psycho that made the suit. But I thought like his suit in the first one was cool, but this one is like way better. Way better. Um oh, it's pretty neat.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I do. I'm not the kind of guy that gives up on a show because the first few episodes are kind of slow. So I mean, I'm not worried about that. I've seen some of my favorite shows started that way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to keep it going, and it could turn into one of my favorite. There's only 2 seasons right now, though.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. I
So
was, but
so are you familiar with Bullseye? Do you know him?
yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of introduced him, I think it was season 3 of the first 3 that he came to light. Um and he kind of took it in a new direction. He's a very dark character too.
Well,
Uh
I assumed that that's who Daredevil was fighting in the first episode that killed Foggy, right?
yes. Yes.
Because he's just knives like a porcupine from all.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I don't remember if it was the first episode when he battles him on the roof. Was that the
Yeah,
first episode? Yeah.
like I right, probably 2/3, maybe more of the first episode is him and Bullseye fighting. The whole episode, pretty much. Right? It's
Yeah.
just it starts downstairs, it ends on the roof. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so in season 3 of the first 3, Bullseye was almost like stronger than Daredevil for a lot of that. And even at the end of that, I mean, it was kind of like Daredevil barely pulled out a win against him, and so they're very evenly matched. And so he comes back in this series, and he's in seasons 1 and 2 so far. And yeah, he's a very kind of out there character too. He's kind of squirrely and odd, and you don't really know what he's thinking half the time or what he's doing. Um, but yeah, he's got that just insane ability to like he's very accurate throwing knives and whatever else.
yeah, well, hence the name, right?
Yeah.
Now, Elektra, her character was in the older episodes or the older versions of the show, but I haven't seen hide nor hair of her yet.
I don't know if you will.
Did they kill her in the old
Y-
shows?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So she was killed, and then they tried to, as I recall, bring her back to life as they had a name for her. God, what was the name they called her? I can't think of the name, but anyway, they put her in like this coffin thing, like filled with weird dirt and stuff, and it was like she came back to life, like dark. um, but back then, that's also when they kind of had that integration with the Iron Fist and specifically the Hand. So the Hand was Madame Gao, and she was in those episodes too, and a lot of it was like crossover where in multiple scenes he's battling like this never-ending line of ninjas, and they're all like part of the Hand. That was pretty neat.
You know what's interesting? Now that you mention that, another potential crossover to Spider-Man's new movie is you and I talked about the trailer a few weeks back. Who is Spider-Man battling in a scene from the trailer? A bunch of ninjas. Is
Bunch of
that the
ninjas.
crossover to the Hand?
Yes.
Hmm,
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, that could get very interesting. The funny thing with the Hand is that I think the Hand was introduced in Daredevil, but really their storyline I think was more in the Iron Fist. And for whatever reason, a lot of people didn't really care for the Iron Fist, but I thought the Iron Fist was awesome. I loved that show. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I didn't even watch a single
See,
episode.
you never even saw it. You're like,
It did not look interesting to me at all.
this sucks. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have to catch up on the Punisher episodes, to be honest with you. So, From what I understand, that's a very dark show as well. So, but I have to watch it now that I'm watching Daredevil. I have to get the whole story, right? I need a 360 here, man. And I'm telling you right now, I've kind of brushed on this crossover, but or the transition thing I've been talking about. And I gotta say, it might be this movie. It might be the new Spider-Man movie. But there's no way they're gonna have Murdoch playing Peter Parker's lawyer have the Punisher in the new Spider-Man movie and not eventually have the Daredevil in the Spider-Man movies. I just don't believe that they're teasing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you not? Right?
Well, you know how Marvel works, right? I mean, they want to have that announcement on Comic Con that somebody's on stage, and it, just like when
Yeah,
they brought out Robert Downey as Doom, same
yeah,
deal.
I
They
agree. Yeah, they got to make a big thing about it. I find though that whenever Marvel does something, whether it's a movie or show, and they don't do it with the broader kind of implications that affect the giant storyline they're doing over here from the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, even on some of the shows, right? Like WandaVision and stuff like that. When they don't follow that script and they don't think, how is this going to affect what we're doing over here? This usually sucks.
Hmm.
But when they do it in relation to the broader storyline, it usually works out pretty good. And it seems like they are doing that. They're starting to bring that in over here. And I hope that they do bring Fisk, Kingpin into the Spider-Man movies, and that becomes some sort of an issue there as well. Because what a great character to bring into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, he's unstoppable. Truthfully, I mean, he's got the, like I said, his brutality is just kind of off the charts for Fisk, and I do like these at that local level.
Yeah, but here's the thing: in the comics and cartoons, he was actually really, really strong.
Yeah.
He wasn't some pushover, weak dude who could just get punched once and go down. Like he is stronger than Daredevil, even from past battles I've seen in comics, cartoons, and I mean, of course, the Ben Affleck rendition of Daredevil, right?
Well, you know what I got to tell you, and you're probably not going to like me saying this. You almost have to go back, watch the Netflix shows, and then roll it into Daredevil, and that would give you a whole new perspective of this whole side of the world.
and I might do that. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I just get in a mood and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to watch the entire first season of the Daredevil, right? And the only downside to Born Again is that it's not on Netflix for me. So I had to pull it up on my Android box to watch it. I thought it was on Netflix, but it's not.
No, it's on Disney.
Disney Plus probably. Eh?
Yeah, so that was the big shift that happened. So all of the original shows were because of Marvel's deal with Netflix, and then Disney bought Marvel and they stopped all of them. So
Yeah.
they all stopped, and now Disney has them, all of those shows are now available on the Disney app, and then Daredevil Born Again is on the Disney app.
Yeah, we had like Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon, and we had everything. And then I was like, you know what, man? I just went out and got an Android box from a friend of mine, and I have everything on one box for like $150 a year or something like that. So like,
Yeah.
so I'll
Yeah.
just stick with that, right? I'm not paying for Disney Plus and Paramount and Amazon and Netflix for like one show here, one show there.
That's exactly how I am.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So we need a streaming service that just gives you everything, right?
Oh, that's an impossible task, though. But what is kind of nice is that the Disney app, is really starting now to incorporate more of Hulu and more like the sports and all that stuff. They're kind of incorporating more. So there's even stuff on there now, like you can watch all the old X Files episodes on Disney Plus. You
Mhm.
know, that originally was on Fox.
Wow.
So I don't
I
know
was
how
like
that
I was
happened.
like 11 or 12 when that was out, man.
They're good. They're really good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're ahead of their time, that's for sure. It's probably
Yeah.
like it was like a huge show back then.
Well, you know what I really liked about it is that you know, back then you had to watch it on kind of primetime TV. The X Files was on Sunday night at like 8 o'clock, and you'd have all the commercials and all that stuff. Now you don't have any of that. So now, like when you watch it, like the episodes actually flow. And then what I really liked about watching it streaming is you can sort of see an episode that's, let's say it's episode 2 or 3, and there's like 20 in the season. All of a sudden, something will come back up like episode 15 that you never would have caught way back when that was running live.
Well, it had been months since you saw that. Yeah. You'd
Yeah.
have to really, yeah, you'd have to like record it on your VHS and watch it back over and over again, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, though, but I would tell you, I think with Daredevil, I think that Charlie Cox is probably the best Daredevil actor we've had. I think, you know, believe it or not, unpopular take, I did kind of like the Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked him. You know,
It wasn't terrible.
it wasn't terrible, and you know,
He's better as Batman, but but
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I truly like him in either one. Like, I kind of liked him in the what was it? It was called Air, the movie about Nike, where he was like the founder of Nike. I kind of liked him in that.
yeah, I don't mind Ben Affleck. Uh him and Matt Damon just did another movie for Netflix I watched where they're playing cops. I can't remember what it's called, but it was actually decent. So
Yeah, and Matt Damon actually is coming out in the Odyssey. That looks wild. The movie. That's going to be one you're going to need to review.
what was it? I watched an interview with Matt Damon. Sorry to get off topic here, but Matt Damon, he turned down a role. What was it? Ah, damn it! It was a big role he turned down, and they offered him like I don't even know, like 20-25% for pay of
Okay.
like forever of what that movie brings in, right? And he said he would have been like a multi-billionaire. What was it again? Was it? Oh, it's gonna bug me. It's a huge role. I'll find it anyway. I'll look it up while we're talking because it's gonna
Okay.
bug me now. It's the biggest role he ever regretted turning down. Anyway,
Well, you know what's interesting? You know, you and I have talked about before. He's one of those actors that they could bring into the MCU. They could bring him in, even something darker like a Daredevil. He normally never plays that kind of character. Um, he'd be somebody that'd be kind of neat to incorporate into this thing.
Avatar.
He turned down Avatar.
He turned down the lead role in Avatar,
Oh man,
and they
facepalm. What were you thinking?
yeah, and they offered him. It wasn't even like a set amount. They offered him a percentage of gross that the movie makes. He's like, dude, I would have been like, he's like, biggest regret biggest role I ever turned down. He's like, I'd be a multi-billionaire right now from the money I would have made from the Avatar movies.
You know the guy that's the director of that one. Everything he touches like turns to gold. You know,
Spielberg.
no, not Spielberg. You know, he did Terminator also. James Cameron.
Hey,
Cameron.
oh yeah, James Cameron. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, turning down a James Cameron movie, that's insane.
Well, I think the reason he did it was he said it was a conflict of his schedule or something. It's like, dude, I would have dropped the other movie. Right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing I would say, so kind of getting us back on track here with Daredevil. Um, I do think the roles that these actors and actresses are playing in this show, I mean, this is like their role. Like you and I talk about this all the time, right? Like if I see Charlie Cox in anything now, he's Daredevil. If I see D'Onofrio in anything, he's Kingpin. You know, same thing with Karen Page. I mean, that's who she is now. She's Karen Page. So it's like embrace it and let's
You're
keep
tight.
this. What's that?
your cast type.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's keep it going. And I really like that they brought it back to begin with, right? Like they didn't have to do that, and I think that at the time, kind of going back in time, there was kind of a hole in Marvel that they didn't really have like Marvel for adults, right? And it's like, yeah, I get it. You're releasing new shows, and I didn't really care for WandaVision, and and then yeah, I don't know. Everybody said WandaVision was good. I don't know. I didn't really like it.
I thought it
Um,
was terrible, man. Absolutely terrible.
exactly right. And then the one with the girl, like the younger girl that was like a Marvel character, and I feel like there's a lot of like kind of weird offshoot Marvel stuff that Disney did where it's like I get it, you're trying to make it wholesome and appeal to different demographics, but you're kind of like losing the core fan base with
Yeah,
some of
that
these.
yeah, it was like that Miss Marvel teenager girl. It's like they were trying
Yes.
to make a Miley Cyrus version, like, but the Disney Miley Cyrus, right, version of Miss Marvel. It's like, what the hell are you doing? No one, no adult is gonna watch that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so when I heard that they were bringing back Daredevil, I was like, "Oh my god, like this is awesome." And I would love it if they could bring back, even if they don't give them their own show, bring back some of those other characters from that era, right? And I think in season 2 that Jessica Jones is back, but I haven't seen her yet. Um and it kind of looks like they might be doing that, but I do have to say with the girl that plays Jessica Jones, that at the time that I saw her as Jessica Jones, I hadn't yet watched Breaking Bad. And now that I've watched Breaking Bad, now I can only see her as a role in Breaking Bad.
Same thing with what's his name, Walter White. There, same
Yeah.
thing. Even though he's actually really funny in like comedies and stuff like that, still, you're Walter White. You're
He
throwing
is.
you're
He
throwing
is.
a whole pizza on your garage. I'm sorry, that's what you're doing.
I know. I know. Did you ever see that movie he did where it was like Jerry and Marge Go Large or something like that, and it was all about them. He was like a math teacher that figured out how to beat the lottery, and so they have this like huge operation that scales up of like 30 people that are like doing scratch offs to beat the lottery.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't
I
see that.
think that was on. God, what was that? I think it might have been on Peacock. I think Peacock had that one. Um, Again, like you said, streamers. I got Peacock too. I got all of them.
You have to. Who watches cable TV anymore? Come on.
Yeah, but anyway, I would just say I think with Daredevil that you really gotta keep pushing, man. You got to get through. Some of these episodes are very very good, and it definitely gets better. I think when they started off, they kind of had to blow up where it came from and take it on a new path, and now they're like building that is kind of where you're at is this kind of slow build of everything.
Yeah, I'll keep going for sure. I look forward to another episode, maybe a week or two from now, where we kind of go back on it after I've seen. Maybe I'll complete the first season and we'll see where we're at. Right.
Yeah, well, like I said, especially the White Tiger episode. You've really, really got to watch that one. That one, if I had to give that episode a grade out of like 10 points, that'd be a 10 out of 10 on that one.
Really. I'll
Yeah,
check it out.
it's very good.
That's going to be tonight's episode, I think. Like I said, it's the next episode on the list. I seen from the like I said the thumbnail of the show. I seen white. I mean, a person in a white suit fighting. So I'm assuming that's White Tiger. So
Yeah. Yeah. But you'll have to let me know what you think about after all of it, kind of when you get towards the end of the season. So yeah, let's circle back on this one.
for sure. Well, to sum it up for me, slow start, but I look forward to them ramping it up. I like the acting in the show. I think the acting is fantastic so far. I think that's what's really kept me kind of interested is the people. The casting has been fantastic so far, and storyline's slow, but the storyline is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just less whining. Less sulking.
Let's solve. Yeah, for sure. And I think the other thing is you have to you got to watch Daredevil from the lens of street level. So forget about the MCU and just follow the plot, you know?
That's what I'm going to try to do tonight. All right, man. Well, those are my final thoughts. You got any further? Is that sum it up for you?
No, I think that's a wrap on this one. So pretty sure we got a new episode coming around Sunday. Looking forward to that. I got a few ideas for some kind of fun topics for that one.
Perfect. Yeah, I have one that I'd like to break down as well. We'll talk about that one off camera. But all right, well, that concludes another episode of the Paradigm Shift. We will see you on Sunday. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Help us grow, help us go. If you're listening over on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere else, make sure you give us a 5-star review. It'd be greatly appreciated. And let us know what you guys think. We'll see you in the next one. God bless.
Alrighty. Shift out.